What I will do is I will send you the link and you can just download the audio or you can do the video. There isn't much to see in the audio. So when you download, you may choose, you'll have the option of choosing the audio only. So,
Okay. I
okay.
right now I see I don't see you. I see your
I turned my,
fireplace.
so sorry. I turned my camera around.
There
There I
we go.
am.
Okay.
You're looking at my pile of books and my drums. All right. So have you ever had an Akashic Records reading?
I have, yeah, just about a week ago. So,
So you pretty much know what'll happen. You also know that each reader has access oftentimes to different places in the Akashic Records. So depending on your questions and where they allow me to see, it may be a little different than what you heard a week ago. So we'll just see. The readings often take for me an hour to or less, depending on if you run out of questions.
okay, I have about 10 questions. So,
Okay.
when I've done
And
it before, usually I only can ask like two questions because it's like very quick. So,
yeah. And if there's questions along the way, you can ask them. The reason I ask for questions to be considered first before we start is it sets up the field. So the answers are waiting to arrive. But you can ask clarification questions. What I will do, this is the way I do a reading. I'm going to do the prayer that's probably very common to you, Adam. And then I just wait for the masters to, because I channel the masters usually, but I will sometimes they'll show me pictures and I'll say, this is Paulette and this is what I'm seeing. And then when I go back to the masters, I'll let you know if that makes sense to you.
it doesn't, but I trust that it
Oh,
will be revealed. Yeah.
okay. So there will be times when I will speak as myself and I'll say, this is Paulette.
Okay.
And this is what the masters are showing me. This is the picture they're showing me. Usually, when I'm channeling them, they just speak through me. So we'll just see what happens, kind of go back and forth. So just to let you know, that's kind of how I get in touch with the records. It's a little different.
Okay. Okay.
So, are we ready? So, we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Those parts I read to myself. Help me to know Adam in the light of the Akashic records, to see Adam through the eyes of the lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Adam have for him. All right, and just let me. I just need to say a part by myself. So if you'll just pardon me for not saying, I'm going to just mute myself. That'll be the best. So just give me a minute here. The records are now open. What is your question?
If you could please tell me what happened to me before I was 5 years old in this lifetime.
They're showing me water, so I'm just kind of listening for the water. Some kind of accident. I'm seeing an accident at before 5. And I'm connecting with water, although I'm not seeing the accident in the water, so I'm not sure what that means. A bridge. The age of 3 is coming to my mind from the records. So at the age of 3, there was some sort of accident. Is this making sense to you?
No, because I have no recollection.
Oh, I
Any
see.
memories, nothing whatsoever.
I thought you knew what it was. So let
No.
me just tune into it more. At the age of 3, I am seeing you playing in a field with what I'm assuming is your mother. So that's what I'm seeing. And there's a bridge across this, like a small stream. And I'm seeing you fall off the bridge. There's something about the bridge and you falling into the water. And it's deep, so it's not real shallow where you could stand. And I have I'm getting the sensation, let's see. You nearly drowned. There's a near-death experience at 3 involving the water and this bridge. And your mother is trying to get at you. She's trying to. She didn't see you at first. You were playing hide and seek with her. When she turned and she couldn't see you, she's running to find you, and you'd fallen off this bridge into the water. And I'm seeing you face down in the water. And she's trying desperately to get down to the edge of the water to save you. But you nearly died, so you left your body for a period of time. Are you afraid of the water? Can I ask that question? This is Paulette asking that question. There's something about not being able to breathe and breathing in water, and your mother was able to save you, but it's left some kind of trauma in your lungs. There's something sitting in your lungs from this experience. And when I say near-death experience, you left your body for, I'm getting 5 minutes. So you left your body for 5 minutes and you saw something on the other side while you were there. They're telling me you wouldn't remember this because it has been encapsulated or protected in your body. And they're telling me, should you choose, because it's affecting your lungs, is what they're telling me. Hmm. this particular trauma, if you choose to release it and do some work, you will find that more of the memory will come to you more clearly. You'll see it more clearly, and you'll release it from your body. So it's like a piece of your lungs stand in death, if that makes sense. It's a connector to death. And that can be released and used in other ways than just bringing lung congestion, is it? There's like fluid, you get fluid in your lungs or something with water in your lungs or watery things in your lungs. And it comes from this time and it can be released. Is there anything else you have a question about this memory or this piece of information?
How can I release this?
There is somatic trauma release methods to just ask. So at the end of the reading, this is Paulette. I'll explain a little bit more about that as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Hmm.
If I can ask a follow-up, please.
Yeah.
Is my mother in this lifetime, is she consciously aware of this incident?
Uh, hmm. Yes and no is the answer. So yes, because she was present. No, because she's chosen not to see it. Does that make sense to you? She has
Yes.
knowledge of it in her body, and if she wanted to see it, she can.
Hmm.
She was so horrified by the incident and felt so guilty or so that no, she can see it. She knows it's there.
Can I ask where this happened? Where was this? What part of the world was this?
I am seeing this in I'm asking. It feels like it's in New England. It feel well, if I can see the countryside. It's outside of a they're showing me orchards, so I don't know, they're near orchards. I don't get the impression it's in the middle of the country. It feels to they're telling me it's in the Northeast. Um, I'm getting Pennsylvania is what I'm getting. But you were out playing with your mother. And I get the impression it wasn't far from where you used to live, but I don't know. Or you're visiting family, relatives, but they lived up more out in the country. And like I say, I see orchards, so it's not far from the orchards. And the bridge is actually a wooden bridge, so it's well constructed, but it's not for like cars or anything. It's like a walking bridge. It's about 3 feet wide. It has like an arch to it, so it goes up and then back down again, so it's not flat. That's what I'm seeing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have another question for me?
How do I mend or heal my relationship with my mother in this lifetime?
That is a very complex and simple question. So I will give you the simple question, but I will also give you the hard answers. So they're showing me it's easy, but it's hard. It's like meditating. It's easy, but it's hard. So I'll tell you what the answer to that is. It is healing yourself. And as you begin in your own self to release and heal as the work you're doing is an example. So you've been doing work. So you've been working on this. as you heal and expand and have a sense of the perfection of your mother for you in this lifetime, there will be an opening that will be possible for her. And every relationship has two people. So this is the hard part. This is the hard part. The hard part is that it takes two to say yes. And all that you can control is your part and not hers. So by doing your own healing work, you're creating a space and an invitation for the healing of that to happen between you and your mother. There are you can do systems constellation work that can help to facilitate that work for you toward her. But the movement, her willing to step into the relationship, must come from her. So it's simple in that it is about your healing, and it's complex in that she has to step into it. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else regarding this question? Or do you have?
Um, there's other questions regarding my mother, but
Okay.
I think that's good. Regarding the near-death experience that I had at 3 years old, I don't
Mhm.
remember any past lives, any near-death experiences, but there's such a great fear of death. Could you please explain why there is such a fear of death for me?
There are several layers to your question. We will answer each layer. The first layer is the last death that you there are 3 deaths that you carry from a past life that were horrific. They were maiming, and they were debilitating, and you were tortured. And so the fear of death is very real from these past lives, as they are in your personal field. They sit in your field. They are close to you. Where other past lives are not, these 3 are close. Each one brought a different kind of death, but it brought fear of death. The second layer of this fear of death is early childhood death, where you stepped into death. And there is there's a fear within the ancestral field that if you keep pursuing your talents of intuition and healing and serving others through this spiritual energy, that it would mean death for you. So many of your ancestors have died as healers and witches, which meant they did healing work in different ways. And so your ancestral field is sending out a message that you will die. So you have several layers of death sitting in your energetic field around you. So it is not surprising. I'm being told by the masters that you wanted to come to peace with death in this life. And so it is part of your journey to be able to be at peace with death. That does not mean that to learn this lesson you must die. It means to understand deeply in your body that death is how to say this? Death is one of our biggest teachers. in terms of making life full. If death is fear, then life becomes very small. If death is part of life, then life can be very large. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And so clearing and transmuting your fear of death based on all these things, you will find an incredible expansion in your spiritual life. That death becomes a spiritual support. You will find that with that coming to terms with death, you will find that your spiritual life and your physical life takes on a profound peace, and you will find yourself helping others to journey through death and to death. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You will in the future be a medium. Should you choose to see the dead and to learn from them, you will have that opportunity to make that choice. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so to get there, there are various ways that you will find along the way to come to peace with death. You have some work to do in the karmic field to understand those lifetimes and bring them to peace. So that's karmic work that you can do. Your childhood death experience, and I'm getting you've had a couple, not just one. So something happened around your birth also. I don't know what happened just before birth or during birth, or I'm not sure what happened, but there was something around your birth as well. So there's been two death experiences, one at birth and one at 3. And so there's something, those two places, if you can get to them through somatic trauma release, you can do that work. And then the ancestral work can be done. Actually, that's the easiest one, because the ancestors need to just be shown and told that this is now, not then. And there's ways to do that very simply. So as you do that clearing and transmuting, you'll find that the fear of death just easily lifts. You have several feet in death, in other words. So you're feeling part of your body drawn into death already. Not that you're dying, but energetically from these experiences. And if you can step out of them, but still feel the vibration of death, you'll be able to work with death if you choose. Does that make sense to you? Is that feeling true to you?
Some of it, yes. Some of it is new to me. So
Yeah. Okay. So there's layers that it's very, because of the healing journey you're on, that you've chosen, these are things that will come, if that makes sense.
okay.
Okay.
And those three um death experiences that were in 3 different lives that were very traumatic. Could you tell me how
So one of them, I'm seeing your legs and arms are broken. Oh, it's in Rome, and they took horses and tied your arms and your wrists and your ankles to 4 different horses, and you were pulled apart. That's one of them that's in your field. Another one, you experienced torture from the church for being, this is when you were in a female form, you were a witch and a healer. You have lifetimes of being a healer. Just to let you know, I can see they're lining up. They're just, you have like many lifetimes of bringing healing to the planet and to bring healing to people. And so because of that, there were times and places where being a healer was to be misunderstood as evil and possessed. And so you had one death where you were tortured. Like, I'm seeing disembowelment, where you were just cut across the belly, hanged and then burned because of what you as a healer were doing in the village. Or for actually, you had you had a little hut outside the village where you lived with herbs and other things. I'm just trying to get into the third life of where. And all of these deaths in some ways are persecution for something you were doing. The Roman one, I'm getting that you were a leader of some kind of group. Like, I'm getting the name Visigoths, so I don't know. It feels like you were a leader of a tribe, and as Rome was conquering, they killed the leaders. And so that's what that one feels like. And the third one, oh, you were pushed off the side of a mountain. So you were pushed off to fall a long distance. I don't know if you're afraid of heights, but you're pushed off and your body was battered going down. And so when you reached the bottom, it was an instant death that you suffered down below until you died. You basically were murdered. And all of those deaths have a fear component to them and a very painful component to them. And they weren't fast deaths. None of them were. You were tortured. And so death, it wasn't a release and a wonderful thing. It was an incredibly scary and painful experience. Those are the three lives that I see.
Are you able to tell me the what time this was? The three different lives?
One was in Rome. One was in Switzerland. The throwing off the mountain, you were in Switzerland, in the Alps. What time was that? 16th century, so 1500s is what I'm getting. And the last one where you were burnt and disemboweled and that was in France in the 1700s. And you were a woman. The other two, you're men, but this one, you were a woman. And you are being called back to being a healer. And know that there's a deep calling that's saying and driving you to your own personal healing because you are being called to serve as a healer. And that is stirring up kind of energy around you to resolve before you can fully step into what you're being called to do. You've had to carry a lot. You've chosen to take a very hard path because you are an old soul that is deepening your spiritual life. You are being called to awaken. You're being called to awaken. And you are deeply blessed. Deeply blessed. And very courageous. I admire what I see and feel about your courage. So incredible. Some days it's just hard to face the world. You're carrying such a big burden. And now I'm going to do something that's not Akashic Records, but I'm going to do something for you, okay? Just before I will come back to the records. I asked the ancestors who are concerned and worried about Adam and how he is pursuing a path in healing. I ask you to step back and step back. I've created a beautiful room for you to go where you can feel safe and trusted and have beauty, and that you can be assured that Adam is following a path that today will not bring him death. That was then, this is now. And all of the ancestors that can support Adam as he goes forward in his own healing, whatever that means for Adam, and allows him to step into his role of a healer. I ask you to stand behind him, all the generations that are here to support Adam in his healing work in himself and for others. I ask you to stand behind him so he can feel all of your support at this time and in this place. And I ask the 3 past lives that are tying him to death. I ask you to go into a room I prepared for you. And when Adam is ready, he will bring you one by one into a healing place and integrate you into his life with all the beauty and the skills that you were creating in those days and those times. But I ask you just to go into the room now so that he may work on himself first. And when he's ready, he will step into this room and work with you, but not until he's ready. So step back and step back until it is time. So does that feel any better? Not so oppressive?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
welcome. I feel such a profound calling of I'm hearing the masters are saying, we are calling you, Adam. We are calling you by name, Adam. We know your face. We know your limitations, which are strengths, which is part of your calling. Know that you are deeply, deeply blessed. And know you have reached the age to really start doing this journey, to hear the calling. You are hearing this calling from all kinds of sources. You're hearing it in dreams. You're hearing it from people that come into your life. You're hearing it from your heart. You're hearing it from every direction. Adam, we call you to be a healer. And the journey is step by step. We do not ask you to take it all on. We ask you just to take the next step in faith. but we call you. You are being called.
Can I ask why every time I close my eyes a lot like now and I get this image that someone's coming behind me and it's gonna like cut my throat, like come behind me and cut my
So
head
there's,
off.
there is a past life where a friend and you were in business. It's England, because I see those kind of top hats and in a like coat and tails. And I see you standing next to a carriage with a friend. I get it, business partner. And because of greed and jealousy, he comes up behind you and slits your throat. And it's about money and greed. And it's also about a woman. It's about a relationship. There's a woman who has chosen you over him, and he's jealous. But the main reason he cuts your throat is greed. He wanted the business to himself. But that's why he's coming from behind and slitting your throat.
Okay.
And so I ask that this past life go to the same room as the other three. And when Adam is ready, we'll release it. Okay? We can release all these past lives. But until you're ready, we ask it to go into this death of the throat. And it was so painful, not only because it was a shock and it slit your throat, but he was for you a dear friend. So it was a betrayal at a epic scale that you played. The betrayal took your life. And it was so painful because this was a dear friend, like a brother. And when that happened, you feel there's a part of your body that's saying, I cannot trust someone behind me. I cannot trust them. And when they come to you from the back, it is that part of you that's responding.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so very welcome.
Um, I guess this kind of goes with the next question. Why would I choose to break my neck and be in a wheelchair in this lifetime?
I don't mean to laugh, but the master is saying it's simple, but it's complex. So it's layered. You're asking questions that have multiple layers to them. So I will respond from the multiple layers. Okay. There is someone in your ancestral field that broke his neck and has been forgotten, that died from it. Actually, you were lucky that you lived. I may not feel lucky, but you were lucky that you lived, where this person who broke their neck died. And it goes back, let me see how many generations. 4 generations are coming. And so you're also processing this ancestor's death. It has gone unseen, and it is gone, and it is forgotten. And so he's living through you in a way, if that makes sense, because he could not resolve this in himself. There was no way for him to survive. And
Mm.
so as you survive, there's something in the ancestral field that is being healed. Does that make sense to you?
Mm. Yes.
So that's one layer of it. So you're doing this work for your ancestors.
Wow.
The second part of it is you may not believe this, so I'm going to tell you what I understand about past lives and about contracts. So before we are born, I've done past life regressions, so I have seen what happens when people die and how they are preparing for coming back. And there is something in your life, in your planning for this life, something you wanted to learn that included breaking your neck. There's some lesson or life experience that is all good that you wanted to experience in this life. And part of it was breaking your neck. Because I personally have seen that pivotal experience. My sister broke her back, and I had another sister that broke her neck but died. So I have this in my own family, and I've seen it. And there is some gift. There's a big gift in this for you. What is the gift? And when you can find the gift, the answer to your question is there. What did you want to learn in this life? How does it serve you as a healer? And you're going to, as you do your healing work for yourself, you will see it because it's going to inform how you serve others, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
only through the pain and experiences we have that we can hold a space for another person who has no hope, who has no way to face life in difficult situations. It's about the resilience you're building from your own healing process. You took a courageous and difficult choice in life, and only advanced souls do this. I'm just telling you, you're an old soul, and you've chosen this particular path to deepen your awakening because your broken neck is serving you to awaken. We shed our bodies, but our spirit and our souls awaken. And as they awaken, we can take in more of the creative being that we are, of the godlike person we are. It's truly, truly a gift. And the masters are saying, look and see the gift. Find the gift.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Um, my next question is, why would I choose to have sex with my biological sister, Lindsay Shapiro, at 5 years old?
You were 5? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, so this answer is you recognized your sister from another lifetime where you were lovers. And at 5, you didn't distinguish, or you were still connected to her as your lover, not your sister. It was not at 5. So we often lose past life memories much later in life. And there's documented history where children of under, let's see, about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, remember their past, or those connections are still very real from a past life. She was like the love of your life. And there was and at 5, you still were connected to that part of your experience. And so when she was born and grew to a certain age, she felt like the vibration had the same vibration of your lover in a past life. Your body could not distinguish between her being your sister and her being your lover, if that makes sense.
Is it possible if you could tell me when this lifetime was with her? This
Yeah,
other
it was
lifetime?
the one before this one. The one before this one. Where were you living? Oh. This goes back to World War II and the stress the family, everything was under. This goes back to the Jewish ancestry piece. So there's 2 parts to this. There's one that there's inappropriate sexual connections in the family and ancestral history. So in your family field, this sits. You're not the first. Okay. It goes back 7 generations. And the other piece that complicated this was that in your past life, you and your sister, who was not your sister, you were lovers. That vibration came with her, and so it was almost impossible for you to distinguish at 5. It was like seeing an old dear friend, right? Deeply in love with an old dear friend, and you had a relationship that was deeply sexual as well as deeply emotional. So it's not surprising.
Thank
You
you.
were trying to reconnect with her. And at 5, you had nothing to distinguish with.
So can I ask when that happened in this lifetime? When I had sex with her, was she aware of what was going on a
No,
conscious level?
no. So she did not remember.
Hmm.
So her experience was very different.
Did she?
And
Oh, go ahead.
and as you heal this in yourself, you heal it for her in so many ways.
So what you're saying is that from them that she didn't remember that lifetime, the previous lifetime during World War II, and also this lifetime when we actually had sex together.
Well, how old was she?
She was 6 years older than me.
Yeah. So she remembers, but how she remembers is different than, so her lesson is different than yours. So how it sits in her body is different than how it sits in your body. So for you at 5, this sits in your body as an expression of love that had always been there. For her, it's more of a sexual experience that, um, I don't know how deep I should get with this. There's some sexual abuse of your sister that's either grandfather, uncle, or dad. I don't know which one it is. And that came before this. There is incest in the family, and it goes back 7 generations. And you're part of that pattern that's in the ancestral field. So there's an energetic movement that comes from the field. And your sister was molested before your actions took place when you were 5. It's clear to me, one of either your dad, your grandfather, or an uncle. I'm trying to figure out who it is. I don't think it's your dad, but it's it's a male member in the family, an adult male member abused your sister. And so sexual expression was confused for her at a young age. And so her part in it has to do with the beginning of the abuse, right? It was how she was trying to connect. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, so can I ask, is that what she experienced with me?
No.
That, okay.
She was seeking love from you. There's some kind of deep connection that was between the two of you, and she was trying to seek connection and love. And since she'd been sexually abused, she you could turn sexuality on in kids too young. They don't understand it doesn't have the boundaries and the experience that um, being ready sexually does as you start to mature. So when little kids reach out for sexuality, it's more about trying to connect. So she was seeking to connect with you, and that was unfortunately what she learned from the abuse. Normally, kids don't choose to do that.
So can I ask, why she had her eyes closed every time I had sex with her?
Her body, so that often happens with abused kids. She when you feel like you're being treated like an object or when you've been abused, you can't see the other person. It's a mechanism to protect yourself to not look. So you don't take it in as deeply if you don't look. So closing her eyes was a way of just not wanting to see. Because when it's a truly deep, mature sexual experience, there are times when you close your eyes to feel the sensations, but you also open your eyes to see that person. You want to take them in love, right? So closing her eyes each time, there was a part of her that was unable to take you in.
Hmm, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, uh, can I ask if there's any specific guides, um, for me?
Yeah, but yes, Archangel Michael standing right behind you. as a protector. He's full and he has his sword out. Normally they don't put a sword out, they kind of put their wings out. I can see their wings, but he stands behind you. He's like got his feet. You know how people stand when they're standing in a power stance where their feet are not together, they're kind of separated, and he's standing there in full power. So he stands behind you. I'm feeling into who else is here. You have a sort of he's kind of druid looking, but I'm getting that he's a Jewish scholar. So there's some kind of Jewish scholar. It's coming in from your ancestral field because he's dressed as a devout Jew, and he comes from the family. So, oh, he's telling me I'm helping him become a healer. There's so much he needs to learn about the spirit and waking up. So you'll have access to some, you probably already do, some Jewish knowledge that you go, I don't know where that came from because I didn't study that, or that wasn't part of my experience, or so there's some ancient spiritual knowledge that comes to you, and it tends to be in the Jewish faith, but that doesn't mean you have to be a Jew to hear it or know it or be it, but there's something profound he continues to put in your path, people that can help you awaken. And he's standing off to your right, off and back to the right.
Does this friend have a name?
Let me see. What is your name? It starts with an A. It's not Adam. It's something like Eliezer. That's not the right pronunciation of it, but it's something like that. Eliezer. I can't get the whole name. It's like kind of in a different language. Russian or Polish. It's like sort of a Slavic. I'm getting a Slavic name that I can't pronounce. He says just call me Rabbi. That's all I care. Just call me Rabbi and I'll come. Who else is here? Mother Mary is here. And when I see Mother Mary, it isn't necessarily the Christian Mother Mary, it's the Mother Mary that is the mother that nurtures and heals, that comes and sits at the base of our feet looking up. She's got like a hand on your knee and is looking up at you and say, I am here. I am here. He knows me well. This is what she's saying to me. He knows me well. Yeah. And you can call on her anytime. And she is here. And she offers you, Mother, like this nurturing, healing energy. And whenever you work with anyone else, you can call her in. And she's showing me I can extend his arms and legs, is what she's telling me. So even if he has no use, I can be his arms and his legs. Yeah. I kept getting two animals showing up, and I don't know if they mean anything to you. One of them is some kind of dog. He almost looks like almost like a greyhound. The dog is kind of long and thin, sort of, built for speed, but he's showing up at your feet. And the other thing that is really odd that I very rarely get is a white goose is here. I don't know why he's here, but he's also here quacking away. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I said, okay. I'm not sure what he does, but he's here. He says to me, I'm helping him to fly. I'm going to show him how to fly. And a dragon has showed up for you. He's kind of laying across he's showing up. He's a big energy, but he's showing up as almost like he's like laying across your shoulder, and I'm seeing his face showing up out off of your left shoulder. And he's telling me that when you are ready, he will take you through time and space wherever you want to any dimension, to any place, to any time. You will travel. You will see the truth of time and space and dimensions. As you awaken, he says, I will be your guide. I will take you. And his name is Charlie, which is kind of weird for a dragon. But he says, my name is Charlie. You can tell him my name is Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
So you can say, Charlie, I need to get to this place. How can I get to this time or this place? Because I travel myself in dimensions and time and space. I can go anywhere. I can arrive in your room. When we do physical kind of work, I'll arrive in your room energetically. I can get there. I can go anywhere I want. Anytime, any dimension, any place. And you will travel as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have I don't know how we're doing on time. I have 3 more questions, but I can
Why don't we do one more? We're a little over an hour, but I don't mind. Let's do one more because it's been deep work.
um there's okay. Did I have a past life with Melissa Jeffers Swart? And if so, can you explain what that life was about? And if there's any lessons I can learn from that life?
So the impression I'm getting, the answer I'm getting is that the partner that slit your throat is her. And I don't know if that feels true or not, but that's what I heard. You're being given an opportunity to find a way through the greed and the jealousy, to find peace in the relationship at some level. you've come across her in this life to resolve something from the past life, to do something different, to let it play out differently. Because there was, with your best friend, there was in partner, there was an intimacy and a love for him, that you had a deep love for him. And you were shocked and deeply, deeply hurt with the murder. Something had to come back. You see what I mean? Something came back. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's all. That's what I'm getting from the records.
And can I ask if she remembers
No,
this? No.
she's totally asleep with this. Past lives start showing up when we start awakening. We begin to feel their existence, feel their presence, and you don't feel it until you awaken. So that you're sensing them and feeling them tells me you're awakening. And when you start to awaken and get to a certain level of personal healing, the fields start showing up more clearly.
Okay.
That's why they're showing up in your life now. It's because you've done a certain amount of personal healing work. And so then they start showing up. And sometimes they show up too soon, because there's some things in our own body, in our own this lifetime, we have to resolve before we can work in larger fields, if that makes sense. And so that they're starting to show up for you is telling me you've been doing a lot of personal work, because most people are asleep to this. They're being driven by the fields, not sensing into them and what they're being calling you to do. And when you're ready, we can have a session on these 4 past lives, and we can work on them to be released.
Okay.
Okay.
There's something that's like a follow up this. Can I
Yep.
ask please?
Yep.
There's this great romantic love with this being in this lifetime,
Yeah.
and I'm confused because I'm currently married to another person,
Yeah.
and it's brought a tremendous amount of strain, but also tremendous healing and connected to this being. Um,
Yes.
if there's anything that you could help me with this.
So when you're ready, we can resolve, because you had such great love for this man that slit your throat. There was great love, like this deep brother kind of deep love for this person. They almost kind of went mad, you know. And so it is your recognition of that part of her that you love so much. And when you can put the past relationship and the trauma of it, when you can integrate it and let it go, then I would be interested personally to see how she appears to you. It is the attraction and the resonance that is calling you to heal. She's giving you a big gift. And she's not conscious of it, so it's not something that you can, but you had great love for her, and you've been together different lifetimes, so you recognize her. It's not surprising. She's like an old familiar shoe that you've loved over and over and over again, and so you recognize her signature, her energetic signature, her soul signature you recognize in this life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And those are so compelling, and so it's like, why? It doesn't she's probably a good and wonderful person, but why is this so strong? And I'm getting that it's you spent a number of past lives with her, loving her so deeply that when you saw her, you felt the connection. And whether it makes sense or not, it does have a root in past lives.
Yeah, I don't know about all that past stuff, but the feeling, like you're saying, that instant when I first met her in this lifetime, there was this instant. I looked into her eyes and I just felt like I just knew this soul.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Okay.
And and in this life, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but in context, it does. And so I'm going to bring this to an end and close the records. If there's any one last burning question, now's the time to ask it before I close the records.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to thank the masters, the teachers, and the loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic records for their point of view. I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. And so it is. And I would like to call the blessing field upon Adam Shapiro, that it comes and like a very soft blanket, warm but not hot, and that it surround him with this love and compassion, and that he may feel closer and closer to his calling and find joy and peace. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
I just have to say, Paulette, this has been life changing, and I'm not just blowing smoke. It's as you can see the tears and what this is stuff that I don't remember, um, like any of this stuff, and to be able to feel it and close my eyes and feel what you were saying, just touched me on such a deep level that I can already start. I asked my guides like Yeshua and Mother Mary and Anna to to that I really want to be able to have a near death experience or be able to experience what it is to die or just have something. And I felt like what they said through you was it's like just to know that I had other lives.
Yeah.
I'm opening to this. This is all new to me,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but yet the more it's like this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
I've been reading Dolores Cannon's books,
Yeah.
and it's like I've been more and more open to it and feel such a thrill, such an excitement, such of like my whole world is being opened up so wide. And then there's times where I'm just so contracted in fear of
Yeah.
like what happens if it's not true. But I feel like what was just came through you, it just gave me like confirmation that this is real. Like
It's very
I could
real. Yeah.
feel it. I
Yeah.
could feel it.
Yeah.
I could feel it.
Well,
So
it's been a blessing and an honor. A
yeah.
blessing and an honor.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to like you're amazing. We all are, but I'm so grateful, Paulette. I'm so grateful that Jill said said that how you have touched her so
Yeah.
deeply, and I'm just so grateful that we're able to connect and you're able to work with my financial situation and assist me because this means so much to me in my journey right now. I want
Yeah,
you to know that.
it's an honor, truly an honor, truly an honor. And I wish peace and joy for you.
Thank you.
Okay, and you just let me know when you're ready for another session, and then I'll put it on the calendar because we made a special. Like I'll get you a discount. I'll give you a code so you don't always have to go through me. You'll just see what's open on my calendar, and then you sign up for it, and then you put a code in, and it'll only charge you the 50.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I'm eager now. I'm like, okay, what's our next session? Because I could just, yeah.
yeah. I'm looking forward to our work together. It's like I said, an honor, just an honor.
All right.
So you have a wonderful rest of the day. And as soon as the recording's available, I will send it to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right.
Blessings.
Blessing. Until next time.
Bye bye.